Thank you so much for hopping on. I'm super excited to speak with you. And first of all, I want to say congratulations on retiring from professional running. It's been
Yeah.
cool to watch your journey from the marathon to being an Olympian and just the whole journey. And it's been fascinating for me because, I played professionally. I played professional football.
hmm
I've always hated running. I've always hated running because sprinting is so different from the
Yeah.
long distance running. And anytime in college we had to do something called I forgot what the name of them were, but we essentially had to run around the field and we had to get around in like 60 seconds. And the most we
That's
did
hard.
was 12. And I'm just out here like, what are we doing? Like, we don't run
Yeah.
for this long forever. So my hat goes off to anybody who runs, but especially for someone like you who like takes the bull by the horns and just makes it a career and also is at the top of your game.
Thank you. I mean, I hate getting tackled. So I love watching the NFL, but wouldn't want to be tackled often. But yeah, I think you have an appreciation for people who go all in on a athletic profession. And it's really hard, but you find your path and yeah, had a really, really great time with it. Yeah, it's been a good career.
That's awesome. So for you, like when it comes to running, it's funny because I'm running a little bit more now,
hmm
just because I've realized the more that I can keep up with those mechanics, how it's good for just my health and my life to always be moving.
Yeah.
And I've learned that running is something that you could just pick up and do. It doesn't take any equipment, doesn't really even take any shoes for real. You just get up and you start running. So for you, when did running start and when did you realize this is something that I want to do? I wouldn't even say professionally, just more so I enjoy running.
Yeah. I mean, I started sports at a super young age. We had parents who were like, you're not going to sit in front of the TV and watch TV or play video games all day. Like, go outside, sign up for something. So I did soccer, softball, and then another season of soccer. But you can't tell by my large presence on the screen, but I'm like 5 foot nothing and
Okay.
don't crack 100 pounds. So I was a very small child as well. And I would just get absolutely crushed in soccer. My whole tactic was get to the ball first, have the quickest feet, get it off my foot quickest. And, it was a survival tactic was being able to run fast and outlast other players. And eventually I realized I might be better off transitioning to track and field and cross country. And I could preserve my body and still enjoy another sport. So I found that pretty young. And yeah, it seemed like I was a naturally good athlete, but because of all the other sports I had played, I didn't realize I was training. I was just having fun and chasing the
Yeah.
ball around. And, but I kind of looked like I was pretty good naturally because I had sort of that fitness built up. And when you're having fun and winning, when you're winning, it's fun. So that was kind of roped me in right away at a very young age.
So what was that like at a young age? Did you realize yourself, okay, I enjoy soccer, but this doesn't seem to be where I can thrive because of my size? Did you realize that yourself, or was that something that was told to you by your parents or coaches or other players, or what was that for you?
I think it was a combination of both. Like I was a pretty solid soccer player, but like when you started thinking about the next levels, like high school and like, oh, can I play in college? What schools would that look like? And then I compared it to my running ability and what I was able to do and what I was able to achieve. And it was pretty clear, like D1 scholarship, like big school, fight for national championship team in running, or like small D3, probably warm the bench. And your ACLs and MCL, PCL are always kind of like right on the line, It was like,
Yeah.
I know the answer, and it was other people telling me as well. But yeah, I enjoyed team sports, and that was such a fun thing to take part of in high school. And it's like you can't do that forever, so I played them while I could. But it was nice to have another option for that next level as well.
That's so fascinating. What was that like for you, like, having to let go of all the things that you did to focus on one? Like, did you love soccer? That's what we're talking about. Did you love soccer more than running? Or was it hard for you to let soccer go to pursue running?
It was. I really enjoyed soccer, and I like, if I were bigger, if I like, I mean, and that's not an excuse because I think you can find a way, right? Even if you're small, you're like, there's better things that I can be working on, and you can figure it out. But I think I liked competition as well, and so that was still available in the other sport. So it was hard to let go of the sport that I love the most, but as I got older and the game kind of leveled up, it was also like, oh, I think I'll get kind of bumped out of this unless I dramatically shift my attention. And that's like going to the weight room, like getting bigger, getting more aggressive, getting more physical. And that sort of like, that really didn't guarantee success either. It was just like, you either got to be all in on this or all in on that. And I'm already having some success at running. So I'll just try a different path.
Yeah. See, I think that's so important for, I think, athletes to hear, but people in general as well. Because I had a similar experience when I was in high school. I played running back my entire life.
Okay.
And when I started getting looked at, when colleges started looking at me in high school, they were all recruiting me as an athlete because I played quarterback, running back, receiver. I had to play everything. And I decided to go to the University of Minnesota, and they signed me as an athlete. And it was a few weeks before camp, they let me know, hey, we need you on defense. So I'm like, okay. And I remember going through that battle, and I'm like, all right, well, I just feel like I'm a running back. I've done this forever, and I get the ball and I just do my own thing. But now I have to react to everybody and learn schemes and learn positions. And I just remember what that mental battle was like. And I can really resonate with what you're saying. Like, okay, I know that I'm really good at this, but I feel like I'm equipped to do this. I got to let this go. And there's no excuse. Like, I think if I work, something can happen for me, for example, on the offensive side. But I do believe in myself enough that my coaches want me to play here, so I'm going to do it. So the coaches that I had, who were the coaches and the support systems for you, and how did them instilling that belief in you give you the confidence that you needed to do well or believe in yourself to see where you ultimately can end up being?
Yeah, I think you'll probably find this similar as well, but it's like an evolving group of people in your corner who, see little skill sets in you, like, oh, you're fit for this, or, oh, you can be better at that. And I was fortunate to have, a number of coaches in my career and just good mentors in general who, pushed me and guided me towards the thing that I was going to be best at. When I went to college at Arizona State, it was like, I'm a 1,500 meter runner. Like, that's my distance. I love this. It's fast. It's punchy. Like, it's the kind of sexy event or whatever. And the coach was like, no, you're a 10,000 meter runner. I was like, no way. That's 25 laps. Like, that's insane.
Yeah.
And, like, I kind of butted heads with them for a really long time. But ultimately, my future was in the marathon. So they were clearly onto something. And it was a little bit of resistance at times. But then you start to see, like, these things make sense. And you're like, oh, that coach guided this athlete in the right direction. Or you see people on your team succeed in these other distances. You're like, well, I match up with them every day. Like, why couldn't that be me? And so sometimes it's getting out of your own way, and coaches help you see that. And sometimes it's them being a little bit more forceful and not ultimatum, but like, hey, like, you got to try this or else you're not going to make it in the sport. So exactly. Trust me.
Wait. So before you got into the 10,000, were you doing any kind of super long distance before doing the 10,000 meter? Am I saying that right?
Yeah. I mean, I liked the 1,500 meter, which is just short of a mile. So that's like fast, like that's a quick, fast race. And you train for that with like mileage. So maybe you're running 8 miles, 10 miles on a regular day. But racing that 25 laps on the track is very different than the 1,500. So there's a gradual step up, but once you're on like lap 22, you're like, what am I doing out here? I feel like a hamster on a wheel.
Oh my God. I think about that. Like, I watch people run marathons, and always the last stretch of it is from what I've heard. One of my best friends has ran a couple of marathons, and he tells me all the time, he said, you get to a point, you're asking yourself, what are we doing? like, what am I doing? What does it take to build up the mental resilience to tell yourself, well, I know what I'm doing and I've trained for this moment? Like, what does it take to get there? Because I think you only can experience that once you're in it.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a deep like understanding of why. And everyone, when they sign up for the marathon, like you're guaranteeing you're signing up for something difficult. You do all the training, you do all the work, but still, that's not so it's easy on race day. It's so that you're prepared for the moment when it's hard. Like it's going to get hard. And so I think for me, it's always like truly asking, like, why am I signing up for this? What do I want out of it? Like, why am I committing to it? And it's so different for everyone. Like for me, it's finding out how good I can be and competing and see if I can, be with one of the best in the world. For other folks, it's signing up for like a charity, and running for something that's a cause greater than them or in honor of someone. So that why is just kind of what you're asking yourself out there.
How did you come up with your why? Like I know you said to be the best, and I know what that means. But do you think was that instilled from someone close to you to get the best out of yourself, or is that something that you feel like you were born with?
I think it was my parents were very much like not pushing us, but guiding us towards that. Just like putting in the effort and putting in hard work and finding out how good you could be. In team sports, it was like be a good team player, contribute, like do the practice right, and then that gravitated towards a individual sport quite naturally, where it's like, like don't take shortcuts, don't take the easy way out. Like just you want to at the end of it know how good you are and like do it ethically and correctly, and you can be proud of whatever result you get.
And I think the being proud of whatever results you get is a really difficult thing to understand with team sports because you're depending on other people to essentially win this trophy or get to this goal. Whereas a individual sport, I've never played an individual sport. I'm always fascinated by, I think you almost create an opponent or a teammate within yourself.
Yeah.
Who believes in you or you're going against. And I think that has to and I think that's correlated with ego, like the negative ego and the positive ego.
Yeah.
Do you find yourself battling with that, I guess, avatar or character that you created that can push yourself? Because ultimately you're the only one who can make yourself keep going or stop.
Yeah. I mean, I think it very much is like, as the little devil and the little angel and like, slow down. Like, no, you worked too hard. But then you kind of expand it beyond yourself. And I think it is an individual sport. Obviously I'm out there, it's solo. But you do have this team that gets you there, and it's your physios, your coach, your spouse, all the people who kind of chip in and sacrifice. And so when I am out there and it's like, hey, all you got to do is slow down and the hurt stops. Like, it's really easy. Let's just back it off a little bit and you could pick it up later. Like, that's kind of the self-talk and bargaining that goes on. And you think about the people who aren't in the situation and aren't able to control your outcome, but have put so much into you getting there and having the day that you want to have. So then it becomes sort of this bigger picture. Like, this is a team sport. I'm the one who gets the results, and then I have to go look those people in the face afterwards and be like, that was everything. And they can challenge me or not, but ultimately I have to live with, what I did out there and if I quit or if I push through.
Damn. That's heavy. Like, that's really heavy. I've never thought of it that way, because I think it's really easy to point fingers at teammates when you don't do something wrong. Like, I mean, if something goes wrong, so with football, for example, if somebody misses a tackle and they score, it's ultimately that guy's fault that they scored. Whereas with running, I wonder, so let's say, for example, if you're running and an injury happens, right? Like you pop a hamstring or something while you're running. How much of that responsibility do you put on yourself versus like the nutritionist or the trainer? Like, how do you battle with that as a runner? I
guess I'm very fortunate that I didn't really have too many of these injuries, but there was a few, and it's ultimately, it kind of comes back on me. Like, I feel like I'm the person in the center and I reach out to all these people and build this team, but it's my job to make sure the team knows what they're doing and if things are working. And so if I have an injury on course, like, what things could I have done differently? Like, did I communicate to my coach about the training? Did we talk enough about it? Was I going to see the physio? Did we address the problem? Was I communicating like what aches and pains I was having? And so if I can go through all those things and feel really good about it, then sometimes it's just bad luck, you know? But yeah, I mean, I think I would take the blame first and then kind of have the conversations next. Like, well, next time we need to communicate better. Or this was what I saw in the training that could be shifted, or so on and so forth.
See, as I'm listening to you speak, you know, I always think of people like us as like the 1%ers. Like I got drafted, it's like the 0.1% get drafted. You want a marathon, that's like 0.1 people can do it. And when I'm having conversations with someone like you, that's really easy for me to understand because I know what it's like to get into that mindset and also build the callus to think that way. What do you think? How could an everyday person be able to assess something like in their life, take accountability themselves, and then be able to, you know, point the finger or see what other issues may have caused whatever it is that they're going through?
Yeah. I mean, I think what's kind of funny is it does feel like kind of elite, like this is a very limited like thing. But the reality is I think the thing that allows you to be that way and think that way is not having an ego, right? Like I can fail and that's okay. Like let's try and get better. I'm really comfortable with failing forward or learning or having a beginner's mindset. And all of those things like remove ego. Like I don't know all the answers, so let's figure it out and fix it so that we can get better. But sometimes that's, again, it's almost like when you have really successful days, you learn way less because you're like, no, that's good, easy. But the bad stuff, you go like, okay, we got to move all these pieces and get to the bottom of this. So yeah, I think it's removing the ego.
And I think the bad days are always so fascinating because it can go really one of two ways, really good or really bad. There's really no in between. Like you got to choose whether, like, I mean, there's been plenty of times I had terrible practices or terrible games and I'm just like, damn. And there's times where I instantly am telling myself, well, you suck. Or I'm like, well, I prepared well. It's just, he got the best of me and and that's it. And that's a really complicated thing to navigate through as an athlete, that I really find it more difficult in my everyday life outside of being an athlete because I'm not dealing with structure of, you know, we need X amount of points to win the game. I need X amount of stats to, you know, get drafted. It's like, oh no, I have like a wife and kids and they have emotions and now I have to like pay attention and kind of adjust on what is going on. So I think, you know, one thing that I've really been thinking about lately is as athletes, we have this way of thinking in life that we don't know will benefit us outside of the sport because of us having to look in the mirror all the time and getting better, which ultimately I think when you become a better person, your relationships get better as well. Because if I can look in the mirror and fix myself, then I can see, you know, my wife or my friends or whatever, be like, oh, we all have, you know, similar problems and everybody just needs grace to become the best version of themselves, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I think grace is such a powerful word that I feel like people have kind of been missing lately. In general, everything's black or white. It's like there's so much space in between and we just have to step back and, you know, evaluate and consider and be okay with being wrong and others being wrong and adjusting. So it's an interesting perspective. It's also nice to hear that you felt like those tools translated to real life too. You know, it wasn't just like, this is an athletic thing. It's like, oh, this has benefited me in my life as a whole. But I think you make a really great point in that we're so defined by, or like dialed into results and tangibles and like numbers. And then you go like, oh, how do I make sense of this in this other space? Which I would imagine is a little bit of a challenge on the other side of the athletic career.
Yeah, no, it is. And I think, you know, as an athlete, we love a mark of measurement, whether it's good or bad, because that determines how much work we need to do. Well, I guess it's always how much work you need to do, because even if it's like you hit the mark, it's like, well, how much more can I do?
Next time.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like there's never like, oh, this is great. It's always a mentality to get better, which is really, really healthy. But I've learned that after sports, it's a tool, right? Like I can't speak to my daughters and my wife about how can we get better right now when you're sick because you got strep throat. You know what I mean? Like I can't do that. So for you, when did you know I'm going to run a marathon. Like, you know that right when you started 10,000 meters, or was it a gradual decision? Because I don't know how,
Yeah.
like, when does somebody sign up for something like that when they know it's going to take every single ounce of me?
Yeah. I'm terrible example probably of how to work with coaches, but I was in college, like, I'm never running the 10,000. That's way too long. Like, if you sign me up for that, I'll quit. So like my senior year's conference championship, coach is like, we need some points, get in there, you know, like we can quit tomorrow. And I was runner up at the Pac-10 meet. It was the Pac-10 back then. And I was like, oh, actually, I'm not terrible at this. And so as I was looking at professional options, there was a group that was 10,000 meter to marathon focused. And I wasn't great in college. I was pretty good. So it was like a development team that was like, yeah, this is what we focus on. You would be a great fit as a development athlete. We'll give you a chance to see if you can make it as a pro. I was like, okay, well, I'll only do the 10,000 because I don't go any longer than that. I was like, my baby all of a sudden, like, sure, I'll do this really short one. And they're like, yeah, okay, that's fine. And then I watched my teammates, get ready for the Chicago Marathon one year. And it's kind of funny because, like, we're runners, we're all doing the distances, but in running, if you do the marathon, cover 26.2, you go from a runner to a marathoner. You can add that to like your resume. So I had these people I trained with every day, and they were like, oh, like we ran Chicago Marathon, we're marathoners. And I wasn't. And I was jealous. So it was basically envy that got me into it.
Really? Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's an awesome story. Because again, I think it's envy, but I think it's also like I can do that.
Yeah.
I can do that. Because that's what got me through a lot in my career, is like, oh, I mean, if he can do that, I can do it. You know what I mean? Because I mean, I'm just calling for it. It's the comparison game. It's like, I mean, I think we have the same kind of tangibles, and I think I'm a little bit faster. And if you got that, I think I can do it. You know what I mean? So there's no kind of like hate at all. I think it's just healthy competition, right? It's just really healthy competition to push yourself. So did you become a marathoner signing up for a Chicago Marathon like your teammates did, or did you run somewhere else?
I waited for the next year. I watched them go through it. I was like, okay, that actually looked pretty rewarding. And then signed up for the Boston Marathon in 2007. It was actually a U.S. championship race. So I didn't qualify for Boston, which a lot of people get really mad about. It's a very difficult thing to do. But as a U.S. championship, so I got to do my debut marathon in Boston. And that was 2007. So.
Were you going in hoping that you would qualify for Boston?
I mean, I definitely hope to requalify, but also the following year was the Olympic trials. And that was kind of the time standard I was trying to hit to qualify for the Olympic trials the following year.
Yeah, I remember watching your when you won Boston, and my favorite thing about the marathons is when people cross the finish line and just seeing I don't even like to just say hard work. I think I'll never be able to experience that level of emotion once you win something like that, especially in the conditions that you won it in. Like, I don't like going for a walk when it's when it's raining and cold. So what was that like once you crossed that line? Like, are you able to explain what those emotions were?
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty late into my career, and actually I had a pretty solid marathon career up to that point. In 2011, I was 2 seconds away from winning the Boston Marathon. So you're, run 26.1 miles, and then you have to get into a sprint. And, like, makes you hungry, but it kind of breaks your heart. So I'd been really close. I'd made 2 Olympic teams, and it's kind of getting closer to the end of my career, I thought. And it was like that point where you almost give up hope, where you're like, oh, the moment's passed. And on that day, I was almost able to use like every tool in my toolbox that I had built up over the years, running all these races, evaluating, going back and rethinking, what can I learn? What can I change? And like, I just built this whole skill set. And on that day, it felt like I got to use every single tool and like put together the masterpiece. So, I think having been so close, having put in so much time, and then being able to use all those, like, couldn't have picked a perfect moment, like a more perfect moment or more perfect way for me to win. And that's what it felt like. It just felt like so gratifying, where like every moment all of a sudden became worth it. You're like, yes, that's why I kept doing it. Like, I got to use everything today. And this is what happens. It might not happen right when you think it's going to, but it doesn't mean it can't happen. So it's pretty great.
That's awesome. I hear a lot of stories of people who work for something all their lives, and they get to that point and they hit it, and then it's like, I worked all my life for this, and now it's like it's going downhill once I hit the pinnacle. Did you experience that at all once you won the Boston Marathon?
I think to a degree. I mean, I think I was definitely on the plateau to, a dip in my career anyways, in terms of how fast I could run, my ability. I think it, bought me more time to find out if I could get any better, if I could tweak some things, and just kind of play around in the marathon a little bit more. But it definitely, it takes the fire away a little bit when you want one thing so bad for so long and then you achieve it. It's like that why. You go back to that why. And for me, it was always like, I want to win the Boston Marathon. And then afterwards, you're like, well, why? Because like, do I want to win it again? Or, like what's going to move you to work that same way and have that same fire and like in those critical moments, be willing to hurt. And that got dulled a bit on the other side of it.
So what is that like? Like, 'cause I remember like my personal experience once I was done with football, it was really me trying to figure out my why and who I am more so than what I was doing, because my identity was tied into the game that I played for so long, and people identified me as, said the football player, said played, got drafted to the Dolphins, said went to the U of M and all these things. So for you, working so hard to get to that pinnacle and then winning it, what was that wrestling like for you once you won it? Not obviously the moments after, like you're not having this thought like, oh, I crossed the line in 5 minutes later. You're like, oh damn, like I want to win another one. Like you're obviously not going for that. But what was it like the next few weeks or months or year or whatever it was? What was that like for you? How did you wrestle through that stuff? How did you get to a new why?
Yeah, I mean, I think in the aftermath, like immediately in the next couple months, even America was so like hungry for that next American champion. I was busy, it was like, how can we raise the sport up? How can we take this moment and make it kind of bring more eyeballs to the other runners? And like, it was definitely a thing that I was celebrating my own win, but also like, hey, there's this moment for the sport. Let's just create momentum. So I was doing that, but then also balancing training and like, hey, we want to go and try to run another one really well. Yeah. And then I think other things kind of like filter into the schedule. So it's like, what about another Olympic team? You have another contract on the line. And then those things kind of carry you through a little bit. And then it was back to Boston, which it's like, okay, can you defend and how well can you run? Can you prove it wasn't a fluke? Because that was a big thing too. It was like, well, you only won because it was rainy. So you find different reasons, but for me, it was like, it was never quite the same. And then, I competed for several years after that. And, then it's just like trying to reevaluate what you're shooting for. And the Masters came into play where once you're 40 plus, you're in a new category. So like, maybe I can win that. And so there's different goals and you kind of redefine who you are and what you're trying to accomplish. But I would say it's never quite the same as like that when you hit it,
What was that? I'd never realized that. I mean, I would think that because it was raining, it was windy, it makes it harder for everybody. And so I think if anything, I'd give you more credit for winning when it's rainy. So what was it like dealing with all that noise of why you won because of the conditions?
Yeah, I mean, I actually kind of get a chuckle out of it. Like, I think most people watching see grit and determination and all the things that a marathon really should be testing. And that's sort of what I sit with as well. In 2011, we had a tailwind. And so Boston's point to point. And I ran a very fast time and I was second by the 2 seconds. And it was like, well, it was only because the weather was so good. So fast forward several years down the road, she only won because the weather was so bad. And it's like at a certain point, you just say, you might be a hater, like you can't make everyone happy. So it's kind of funny in a way. But yeah, I mean, I think winning in those conditions to me was kind of perfect because it was really a test of grit and toughness and all the things a marathon should measure.
Yeah, 100%. Because I don't have any grit or toughness just walking in the rain or wind. So like when I saw it, I was like, yeah, like this will take every ounce out of you to win this kind of race in these conditions. When you think about winning the Boston Marathon, at that point, it's like Des, Boston Marathon winner Linden. Like now, like your identity is tied from the outside world to winning the marathon. So what does progress look like when the world already sees you as made it? Like when the world identifies like, oh, well, she did it and now that's it. What does progress looks like for you when you're labeled as that, as the person who made and did the thing already? There's not more that you can do outside of winning the marathon. Or did you struggle with that at all?
I mean, I think that'll be an interesting thing on the other side of professional marathoning. Now it's like, well, what are you beyond just the marathon champion? I think with marathoning in general, it's again like proving that it's not a fluke, and it took a ton of pressure off because I was so close in 2011, and I felt like I had it in me. I felt like I could do it. So once I did it, it was like, okay, you can go and swing for the fences, and it's okay to fail like colossally. Like maybe you can set a record or a PR or run the American record or whatever it may be. Like you can take bigger chances because you already have that title and that's never going away. So like there's nothing left to lose, which is pretty powerful in itself. Like that's a powerful way to approach the sport. Like you're not afraid to fail anymore. It's like it doesn't matter because you've already achieved the thing and that can't go away.
And that's something that you recognize yourself?
Yeah. It was nice. It was like, I think I always got labeled as this very smart racer, this very consistent racer. And sometimes you wonder, like, maybe smart means a little too conservative or a little too passive. And so it allowed me to just take some bigger chances during races.
No, that's beautiful. I think it's really difficult to identify them things yourself because I think that stops you from labeling yourself as others see you. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like people would call me said the football player said this all the time, and I went with that narrative for a long time. So when it was time for me to walk away from the game, it was really hard for me to do that because of how people saw me and not realizing, well, I already did the thing. Like I already did it. And it doesn't really matter how long or how short I do it. The fact of the matter is when it comes to getting the certificate or my name called, I did that and can't nobody take that away from me. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And I think that's, 100%. I think that's something that anyone can have for themselves if they pay attention to the things that they have done in their life, not just through sport, right? Like, would you agree with that?
Yeah. I mean, I think it gets harder as you get older to find those things that are meaningful that you kind of want to add to your life resume. But I think if you can find them and tackle them, that's a really powerful and like gives you a sense of purpose. And then you accomplish them and then you move on to the next thing. But like that sense of purpose is pretty nice. And it can be just so many different things. Like I want to become a marathoner. Okay. Life resume, check. Like I want to go hike the Grand Canyon. Okay. Did it, check. Like you can add to what you're doing and just really the experience and quality of life.
Damn. So I've never seen like you making the comparison to, oh, I want to go hike the Grand Canyon and I also want to become a marathoner. The Grand Canyon is something that you can do kind of whenever you want. And if I'm speaking, I'm probably just being super naive. Like I don't know how hard it is to do the Grand Canyon, but I know for a marathon you have to train extensively to make it. I'm wondering if that's something that is good to that people should sit with, that like don't compare the two based on how much work you have to put into it. It's something that you just want to do, and that's all that really matters. And that's a check that you can have for yourself to, I guess, look back on your life and say, yeah, I did the things that I wanted to do. It doesn't matter about how hard somebody else saw it or how easy somebody else saw it. The fact of the matter is I wanted to do it, and that's all that really matters. I think I've always seen it as this, I got to go for the highest thing because that's what you have to do. And if I don't hit it, then there's no point of signing up for it.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's about life experiences, right? Like, what are the experiences you want, and put them down and make them important enough to go achieve. And, it can be anything. Like, do you want to get married? Do you want to be a parent? Like, those things are all available to everyone. They're super hard, I'm sure. Different ways to do it. But if you want to have that experience, you make it important and figure out a way to get it done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. I have a friend out here. His name is Mark Dowdle, and he is I think it's called an ultra runner is how he identifies himself. And the stuff that he does is, I can't even wrap my mind around how he does some of it and how deep he has to dig to keep going. He did this one race called the Last Man Standing, and that's literally what it is. I don't know the exact rules, but basically you keep running and have a break, and it's like 100 or some people, and you just keep going until you're the last one. And he won it 2 times in a row now. I think he ran the one he just completed last weekend. It was like 150 something miles that he ran in the span of 2 days. It's on the clock. He just keeps going and going. Yeah. And I can't understand what part of him is doing this. Like, I think you have to go so deep that it's like a spiritual component that you are doing this outside of yourself.
Yeah.
You're digging really deep to prove something to nobody but yourself at that point, because it's such a difficult thing that it only takes what we were talking about earlier, that ego or that confidence in yourself to keep going. Do you feel like that's something that you experience as a runner, is where you're going outside of your realm as a human being and you're doing something bigger than yourself outside of just the physical running?
I think there's moments of that, and I think it's a very like, you have to be mentally tough, and that's like, is stepping outside of like, this feels like, or this hurts, and I'm evaluating the physical side of it, and you remove all that stuff and you just like focus on the moment that you're in, and put one foot in front. Like, you break it down to the very simple elements of like right foot, left foot, right foot, left foot, like, get to that next, and you're not worried about how you feel anymore. So I do think there's like that separation of body and mind. I think ultra runners they're crazy. That's crazy. 150, like the run till you drop is wild. And what a crazy thing to test. But you're right. Like, I think they go through these ups and downs, and all of a sudden you have this like mental toughness that you acquire, where you go like, it doesn't matter how I feel right now. Like, I'm going to get it done because I have to get it done, because I have to get to the next lap. And, I think that probably tests them 30 times, 50 times. I don't know how many times during an event like that, but like, just to deal with the ebbs and flows and the ups and downs in that mental and physical part is so impressive. And I think that stuff translates to life, where it's like, this is just a patch. We're just in a patch. Let's just wait it out. And people could use more of that.
I was just about to go on to that. So when it comes to just one foot after another, like left foot, right foot, do you think that's something that people can do in the beginning? Or you think you have to earn being able to essentially convince yourself or trust yourself that it is as simple as that? It's like one foot in front of the other, like one more lap, 2 more laps.
I think that's where you really have to start, because like, getting in shape it's really frustrating, because getting in shape when you're a beginner, like truly a beginner, it's like the middle parts of the marathon where it's just hard all the time, right? And so you have to just break it down to the simplest thing. Right foot, left foot. I'm going to go out and just do this today. And then you create a routine or a habit, and you do it for 2 weeks straight. Like, doesn't matter how your body feels, like, just go out, put in your little bit of time running, just right foot, left foot. Doesn't matter how fast you go. Doesn't matter how slow you go. Just create the routine. And then one day in that process, when you have the routine going, you go like, I don't remember feeling terrible today. And like, getting in shape is super hard. Yeah. When you get there, when you're in shape, it's awesome. Mm-hmm. But like people don't want to do that hard part because it's the toughest part of the marathon. It's the toughest part of the ultra. So when you start, it feels like you're at the bottom of the barrel. But you got to just wait. It'll come around, and you'll get the peak if you stick with it.
Why do you think people don't want to do it? Like, why do you think it's so hard for people to want to get in shape? Like, what is the core thing?
I think it's just so hard. I think physically, like, you feel so sore. You can tell you're not really good at it, you know, and there's no like accelerator. Like, you can't speed up the process. And I think we're in a culture where we want everything now. Yeah. And we can pay for things that we can't just like, you know, like you can speed things up by just paying for it. You can make life convenient by just paying a little bit more. And there's no shortcut. Like, you just have to put in the work and be patient. And patience is the key word with distance running. It's a thing we all need to hear, but we hate to hear. It's like, just stay patient. It'll show up someday.
Yeah, and that's what's so fascinating about consistency. Consistency is something that you don't see results fast at all. And consistency requires commitment. And when you commit to something, you want to see things fast because you are committed to the thing. Yeah. And, you know, when I was playing football, I didn't realize that I worked my whole life for the moment of being pro until I was done. I was like, because football was just what I did. Yeah. And I realized, oh, damn, no, I've been like actually working my whole life for this. And it's hard because it was just a game, like as a kid. And then you get a little bit older, then you get to college and it's still a game. It's not until you get to the league where you realize, oh, this is a business and this is a whole nother thing. So you get all these different perspectives from the different levels of, you know, going up that I forgot that, I worked my whole life for this and I was consistent. I did show up. I was committed. And that's ultimately why I got here. And anytime you start a new training camp or anytime you take a break and get back into running, it's always hard. Like, it always sucks to get in shape. It always sucks to run the first big run. And I think it's important to say is like, even though we did it, we were at the top of our fields, it always sucked when we had to start. It always sucked. It never was like, oh, I can't wait to start camp. Like, this sucks, right? Yeah.
I'm in that right now. I took 2 weeks off after my last race, and you're like, oh, I'm like the ratio of like work put into like how quickly you can lose it is just not right. But I'm trying to get back in shape, and it's hard. It's hard even when you've been doing it for your lifetime, but it's worth it.
What do you mean by it's worth it? Because I think it's, as someone who's going after something that's very like, I'm going for this race, it's worth it for me to win that race. How could someone take that into their life for it's worth it to get in shape?
I mean, just from a health and wellness perspective, like just getting out and moving, getting fresh air, like, you know, cardiovascularly, stress on your bones and your muscles and your body, and like building that up, like just health and wellness. It's a great activity. And also for mental health. I mean, I think we're on screens all the time and we're plugged in all the time. Like for me, it's when I leave my stuff at home and I have, you know, an hour to think through everything or not think about anything or whatever it may be, whatever you need. Maybe it's music, maybe you do take the device, but you know, it's just time that you're allotting for your own self-improvement, which I think is valuable on the mental side as well.
I think what you're saying is so beautiful. I think it's really hard to disconnect to experience being human. You know, I think we've lost this idea of being a human and feeling what it's like to feel, because we're always consuming. I always say we have the access to excess of information, which is good, but you can get lost in that and forget how to feel and not get caught up in how other people are telling you to feel or what you should be thinking. Yeah. And I think being able to leave the thing at home and go for that walk or be outside and get in shape, whatever it is, just spend time doing that, because I think at the end of it, that's when you realize it's really worth it. Like, it's really, really worth it to take that time to get in shape, to leave the phone or whatever it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, there's, I'm sure, all kinds of chemical hormonal, you know, boosts that you're getting from doing that as well. And we doom scroll all the time. There's so much out there, or it's just like mindless stuff that you're like, I really didn't need to look at those memes all day.
Even though they were funny.
Yeah. Like, I was entertained, but did it benefit me beyond entertainment? So yeah, I think it's good to set those aside and like really, like you said, to just feel stuff and like be human, and also like create community outside devices. Like you get out and you see other people, and it's just like, the runner's nod or the wave, and then make those connections and create real community around you.
So you've done the prime of running. You just mentioned like the head nod of like going for a small run. So there's different types of running, right? So what do you think most people get wrong about what running actually is?
That's a good question. It's probably a lot. I mean, I think you don't have to wear short shorts or spandex. You can wear whatever you want. That's the first thing. I just like immediately think of like every high school boy who couldn't make any other sport, and they're like, "I'll join the cross country team." And but it's full circle, because now, like when team sports end, they're all like, "Well, health and wellness. I want to stay fit," and then they come back into running. They're like, "Okay, you guys are all right." So yeah, I mean, I think it can be whatever you want it to be. It doesn't have to be racing. It doesn't have to be hard running. It doesn't have to be long distance running. It's just there's so many ways to participate, and I think even with my career, it's like this marathoning portion is over, but like maybe I'll get on the trails, or maybe I'll get into ultra running, or maybe I'll go do a 7-day hut to hut trip in the Swiss Alps. Like you can explore, and it can be as big or as little as you want it to be, and then there's just all these opportunities to redefine it, and so it doesn't have to be any one idea that you saw on TV. It can be whatever you want it to be.
That's beautiful. Do you feel like has it helped you discover who you are, or just peel back or peel away what you're not, being a runner?
That's a good question. It's probably both. I think, for me, for forever, it was like I'm a competitor and I happen to be a runner. That's where I compete. And that's what I love. And it's like trying to win and be the best and improve. But I've had a couple of injuries, and it really made me focus on, like, I just love to go and explore, or, get in shape or feel healthy. And so, yeah, I'm more than just a competitor. I can be a runner as well who just appreciates going out and running. So it's a little bit of both.
Oh, that's beautiful. Anytime I think of runners, I just have so much respect for being able to tap into, I just ask about, what people get wrong about running, and there's all types of running, but I think what you do, it's like the 1%, and the mental fortitude, the commitment, the trust in other people is, I believe, unlike anything else when it comes to the sports world. Like, and maybe I'm just speaking because I hate running so much because I really don't like to run. So maybe I'm just speaking like I'm just super convinced that it is, because I know how difficult it is for me. But nonetheless, like everything that you've done, like, is amazing. And it's cool for me to talk to women specifically, because I think there's just not enough credit for women for the things that they do. And I have 3 daughters, and it's important for me to let them know, like, yo, you can do anything you put your mind to. Daddy's done it, Daz has done it. Like, there's examples everywhere. And if you just believe in yourself and commit, and I think that's what it is, believe in yourself and commit to it, the routines, the resources, the support will come, because that's just how life works, or at least that's how it's always worked for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's I think about the Boston win, and it's like, it was raining, it was cold, and pretty much everyone was standing on the line with doubts. But if you flipped it and you're like, look, someone is going to win today. That's the guarantee, right? Someone's going to get it done. Why not me? So it's perspective. Like, why not you?
Man, I can go on a tangent about why not you, but I know we're at the end, so we'll sit there for another time. Well, I want to thank you so much for hopping on with me. Like, I've been super excited to speak with you, and I'm excited for whatever it is you do next. I watched one of your, I think it was the, I'm blanking out on the name. You were running on the treadmill, and you had to go up 1 mile, and you had to like drink the ketone thing. And I remember you saying, like, it might be trails, it might be in the Alps, whatever it is. I hope your heart goes directly with that, and you just enjoy yourself, because one thing for sure is you deserve it and you've earned it. So I'm excited for whatever it is that you do next.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on. It was a pleasure chatting with you.
everything works out the way it's supposed to, the way it's supposed to, the way it's supposed to. Everything